It's like every day another rapper bites the dust in the hood. Julio Fulio got blasted, didn't even make it out alive. And you want to know why? Cause these rappers can't stop beefing, turning their lives into a blood bash. And when Theo got smoked, some of his rivals didn't just react, they straight up went off the deep end. Here's how these 6 rappers are reacting to Fulio's death, and it'll leave you shook. Charleston White reaction: the beef in Florida's rap scene just got deadlier. Julio Fulio, aka Young Life Julio, was gunned down on his 26th birthday. His death marks another grim chapter in his brutal rivalry with Young Ace. But here's the wild part: other rappers are actually celebrating his death. Charleston White is among those happy to hear the news. He was a real demon, and he professed to be a demon. He himself said he was a demon during a recent interview with C's. The interviewer asked Charleston how he was doing, to which he responded that there was always something going on every day. The interviewer mentioned waking up to some breaking news about a well-known troublemaker from Jacksonville, rapper Julio Fulio, also known as Gideon, who had professed to be a demon himself in the gritty world of rap, where fame and danger often go hand in hand. The recent demise of Julio Fulio has sparked intense speculation and debate. Charleston White, known for his outspoken views, didn't hold back. In a recent interview, he painted a vivid picture likening Fulio's life to a perpetual dance with death. Charleston nodded and leaned forward, saying that Fulio had indeed called himself a demon in his songs and interviews. He mentioned that he had gone back to listen to Fulio's lyrics, confirming that the rapper was indeed on what he called demon time. When you seen the news today, were you shocked? Oh no, shocked for what worked hard to get, yeah. When the interviewer asked if Charleston was shocked by the news, Charleston scoffed and said there was no reason to be shocked. He explained that Fulio had worked hard to get where he was, just like someone studies hard to become a doctor. He believed that Theo had earned his place in the streets. The interviewer noted that Charleston and Fulio had some back and forth and that people were commenting on how Charleston had predicted something would happen to Fulio. Charleston confirmed this, recalling that Fulio had threatened to slap him, an old man, not realizing that Charleston was 53. And that these young rappers were in their early 20s, thinking they were invincible. He compared them to the kids he used to stop from throwing rocks at bums in the projects. Charleston continued, saying that when Theo had threatened him, he didn't know much about him at first. But after doing some research, he learned more about Fulio, and even met Lil B's father through the ordeal. This connection was the good that came out of it, but it also made him pay close attention to Fulio. Charles said he listened to Fulio's lyrics and watched his interviews, concluding that Fulio wasn't a representation of anything good. He described Fulio as demonic and noted that the rapper even believed in witchcraft. I went back and listened to that boy. I listened to his lyric, hell yeah. He would say that on Demon Time. Oh yeah, hell yeah, man. The interviewer, intrigued, asked about the witchcraft. Charleston explained that Fulio believed it protected him, but he argued that witchcraft couldn't protect anyone from real consequences. He mentioned a conversation with an old friend who had warned him that money and women could lead to trouble, and Charleston prided himself on not chasing either. He shared his mother's advice about needing a vision before anything else, reflecting on Fulio's life. Charleston said he had listened to the rapper's lyrics and watched his interviews even after Fulio had been shot the previous year. He hadn't changed his ways, staying on the same path until it ultimately caught up with him. Adding to the controversy, Charleston hinted at a deeper conspiracy. You have to wonder, he said, who benefits from Fulio's death. There's always more to the story in these street wars. Sometimes it's not just rival gangs, but hidden players pulling the strings. Maybe someone higher up wanted Theo out of the picture for good. The interviewer, visibly taken aback, asked Charleston if he had any theories about who might be behind such a move. Charleston leaned back, a sly smile playing on his lips. All I'll say is when the smoke clears, watch who rises in power. The streets have their own way of balancing things, but there's always someone orchestrating the chaos. He even asserted that Fulio was like a man on death row, always on the edge of the abyss. Each day it seemed he narrowly escaped the inevitable. But despite these close calls, he remained unchanged. No remorse, no reflection on the forces that may have spared him. White's words hinted at a deeper narrative, one that suggested Fulio's fate was not merely a consequence of street violence, but perhaps a manifestation of a darker cosmic reckoning. He spoke of Fulio's risky lifestyle choices, from staying in questionable locations like the Holiday Inn to keeping company with dubious individuals. According to Charleston, Julio wasn't just a rapper. He was wrapped up in some dark stuff. Charleston went on to say Julio was like a demonic force and lived with this intense fear that seemed to drive everything he did. It's heavy stuff, right? Charleston pointed out Julio's habit of showing off his location on social media, which, let's face it, is not the smartest move in today's world. He even shared stories about how he used to do that too until he got a harsh reality check. But Julio, he kept at it almost like he was invincible. It's got people wondering if all that bravado was just a front.
Before the shooting, Fulio posted on social media about a pool party at an Airbnb.
Now here's where it gets really intense. Charleston didn't hold back about how Julio treated others, even in death. He accused Julio of lacking any compassion, mocking those who passed away, a claim that stirred up a lot of controversy. People are split. Some think Charleston's onto something, while others say he's just stirring the pot for attention. Looking back, Julio's life was filled with drama, from his wild parties to his confrontational online presence. Charleston's take is that Julio was controlled by dark forces, trapped in a cycle he couldn't break out of. It's deep, right? Whether you buy into all this or not, it's definitely sparked a debate about the darker side of fame and what it really means to live under a spotlight that never turns off. Now, what Bob Fulio's fans is that he said God can't let demons live forever. Fulio, despite his talent, confessed he wasn't living large. He wasn't making the money, nor did he alter his habits. It was a recipe for disaster from the start. Then, in another video, he seems to be ridiculing Fulio's death. Fulio's lawyer, L.S. Busco, confirmed details of his client's death. In a statement he shared on Instagram, he wrote in part, "Mr. Jones had been in Tampa to celebrate his birthday over the weekend. Law enforcement reports indicate that he initially stayed at an Airbnb, but was asked to leave due to exceeding occupancy limits. He subsequently relocated to the Holiday Inn, where he was involved in an incident in the hotel parking lot and reportedly ambushed. While these events involving our client, Mr. Charles Jones, have been disclosed by law enforcement, we are unable to provide further comments at this time until additional details become public record. We kindly request that the privacy of Mr. Jones and his family be respected during this difficult time." And White's reaction to this news was very disturbing. The Holiday Inn, he asked emphatically, "What, the ain't no protection on a nigger at the Holiday? And they ain't even got valet parking from there." He remarked that Fio works hard to die, so him being so extra involved in his death and spreading negativity against Fulio tells many things which are untold. Nadalak reaction.
Respectful. The type of people, when I hear about Fulio from other people about I don't like him or whatever like that, I never.
However, not everyone is as heartless as Charleston. Fulio's death has saddened many of his fans and friends, and they express their grievances for his sudden death. The impact of the death of a Jacksonville rapper is being felt by the music community and law enforcement in the area. Fulio, also known as Charles Jones, was more than just headlines. He was respected by many in the music scene. Jacksonville rapper Nadalak fondly remembers him as a respectful person. "When I hear about Fulio from others saying negative things, I never experienced that side of him." Nadalak Shar, he recalled the time Fulio came to his studio back in 2018 eager to collaborate, showing a different side to the young rapper. Fulio's rise in popularity over the years was shadowed by the violence that sometimes followed his lyrics. His untimely death at a birthday celebration in Tampa has left a void in the community. Nadalak expressed his sadness, saying, "It's a painful ordeal all the way around. These kids are half my age, and it's heartbreaking to see them taken so soon they don't get the chance to grow up." The impact of Julio Fulio's death extends beyond his music career, resonating deeply with both the music community and local law enforcement. It's a reminder of the complex realities faced by young artists navigating fame and its consequences. Despite the warnings and efforts from figures like Nadalak and Sheriff T.K. Waters, the message about the dangers of street life often falls on deaf ears among young rappers. Nadalak, who has mentored and advised several up-and-coming artists, laments the challenges in getting through to them. "I've tried to tell these young rappers I work with to watch their actions and their circles, but it's like talking to their parents sometimes." He reflected, "Nobody wants to listen. It's always like, aw, dad, come on." Sheriff T.K. Waters of Jacksonville echoes this frustration. "They think this stuff is a game." He remarked bluntly his office has a dedicated unit aimed at steering individuals away from gang involvement. "We're proactive in trying to guide them towards a different path," Sheriff Waters emphasized. "But if they persist in criminal activities, we'll do everything in our power to ensure they face serious consequences, potentially a lifetime in prison." These sentiments highlight the ongoing struggle to steer young talents away from dangerous paths, emphasizing the need for support and guidance within the music community and beyond. Sheriff T.K. Waters of Jacksonville is adamant that the tragic death of Julio Fulio should serve as a stark reminder that the violence associated with the city's drill rap scene isn't glamorous or cool. "It ain't cool now. It's over now." Sheriff Waters asserted it's over for him. "It's permanent, but the way he died was cool." The Tampa Police Department has confirmed to 2XL magazine that Foy was one of 4 people shot during the incident outside the hotel. All we know at this point is around 4:40 this morning, we received a 911 call about a shooting in a parking lot on McKinley and Fowler. 2 cars were shot at and 4 people were shot. In total, 3 were transported to hospitals, and 1 was pronounced deceased at the scene, said Joni Lewis, public information officer for the Tampa Police Department. What we have learned, and this is early in the investigation too. Cars were shot at. The statement continued, saying that police are actively investigating the events leading up to the incident.